And we are live with Altered Moments. The special guest today, Joe Loya. Thank you to everyone who's joining us today live. So excited to be back with another episode of Altered Moments. You know, it's funny, as I've started talking to people about their own altered moments, I'm finding that I am much more aware of God working in my life and new altered moments as my days go on. And that's the purpose of this entire discussion, is to bring awareness that God is alive and well, and he is changing lives today and every day. I want to bring on our guest, Joe Loya. Joe, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's an honor.
So, for all of you who are watching live and on the replay, Joe and I met a few weeks ago at a conference in San Antonio, and I had the privilege of hearing Joe's story. And I grabbed him and I said, I really need you to be on my podcast. And he willingly agreed. Joe is amazing. Wait till you hear his story. It will have you in tears. And then when you see what he's doing with his story, that will have you in tears again. So Joe's from El Paso. He's an entrepreneur by day, and he is someone who has dedicated his life to giving back to people, such as he was before his altered moment. And that's why I think he is just an amazing human being, an amazing man, and why we are so fortunate to have him here today sharing his story.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
So tell us a little bit about your business. Tell us a little bit about your ministry, your Breaking the Curse LLC. Tell us a little bit about Joe.
Yes. Where do I begin? Well, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Been in the entrepreneur space since 2021, and it's funny. I tell people that God has a sense of humor because
He definitely does.
I remember vividly that my ex-wife, she does sales for a company, and she would always tell me, she's like, you should come work with me, you should come, you love talking to people, you love connecting and this and that. And I'm like, I'll never do sales, I'll never do it. And I would like adamantly say I would never do that. And fast forward to now, and here I am, entrepreneur space, which obviously if there's no sales, there's no money, right?
But I live in that world as well.
But I mean, right, in what I do, I mean, I really don't feel as if I'm a quote unquote salesman. I mean, I am, I'm here to help people. I'm here to serve others in whatever facet. I've said it many times that even if I don't monetize off of it, let me help you. I mean, I have the network, I have the Rolodex or address book, whatever you want to call it. That maybe I can lead you in the right direction. but yeah, so the last few years I've just been in the home improvement realm, primarily solar, and then from solar it went into people started asking me about a landscaping job, a roofing job, or whatever there anything else to do, and I'm like, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna see how I can help you. And then last year, God kind of spoke to me again and led me down the insurance path, and so I started studying for that. last year, and uh, I successfully passed my health and life exam. So effective, this just happened in January of this year. Uh, got my license to for health and life. So that's it's been
Pretty,
a quite
pretty
a run.
awesome. So tell us a little bit about the context. I know that you're going to talk about a specific moment that happened to you in 2015, but give us a little bit of what was going on in your life in 2015 and give us a little context.
Yes. So I'm gonna go back several years before that. So March of 1998, I get released from the Navy, and in June of 1998 is me and my wife. At the time, we were in a car accident, and she passed away. Um, and so that was obviously a hard thing.
Yeah.
I had two small babies, one 3, one a year old, and
Wow.
I tried to do the dad role. I was taking them to the daycare, working, um, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I never grieved. I never went through the grieving process, and so after a while, I'd say maybe after about a year or so of just trying to hide it and just push it away, I just slowly picked up the bottle, which obviously is not the right thing to do, of course. But um, so that was my avenue. That was my medication, and so I mean that continued on and on, and I mean it just got worse and worse. I was what many would I guess would call a functioning alcoholic. I was still working, and still trying to you know raise my kids. Thankfully, with the help of my mom and my dad, they helped me out a lot. But it was just I still never addressed it, never came to grips, never um, you know forgave myself or anything, any of the steps that in the grieving process. And so in 2015, by this time I'd already picked up multiple DWIs. Not proud of it, of course. Thankfully, I never hurt anyone in these DWIs. They were just taking a California stop or whatever the case. But then in June of 2015 is when I went away, and in November of 2015, while I was away, I was
When you say away, tell us. I know it's hard, but tell us
yeah
what that means because
yeah
it's very significant.
yeah. So when I say away, I mean I was incarcerated. I got sentenced to Texas Department of Corrections for my the multiple DWIs that I had you know gotten over the time over the years. Um, and so I got sent to a yard, a prison out in Plainview, Texas, out in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
and I end up getting into a dorm where one of the shot callers of the Hispanic race was there. One of the shot callers of the black race was there, and racial tension was at its high. It was, and I'm just crying out to God. I'm like, really? Like I'm here for DWI. I have no business getting involved in a race riot or anything like that. I mean, it's because anything behind bars is a first degree, and so they stack another 5 years on top of whatever you already have.
Wow.
And so
That's
yeah, so
yeah.
I'm crying out to God, like, why? I mean, please. My first granddaughter was about to be born in December, and so
Um,
and it was a rough time. and that's when that's when my altered moment happened, because that's when I heard his voice. Um, you know, I uh, there's a YouTube video of Ray Lewis. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but he talks about when he was charged for those that double homicide that he was charged with, and where he talks about a voice asking, "Can you hear me now?" And that's exactly what it was. And I did, and at that point is when I let go. I threw my hands up in the air and I gave my life to him. And miraculously, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a coincidence, because both you and I know that nothing's a coincidence
There are
with.
no coincidences.
But so every prison system, every prison unit, to my knowledge, has a faith-based dorm that you can subscribe or sign up to go to. A lot of the times,
Amazing.
though, the waiting list for that dorm is so long, because not just the people that are searching for Jesus is looking for that dorm, but you've got the snitches, the child molesters, the sex offenders, all of these people that are trying to hide. They go and hide in the faith-based dorm so that they won't get their butt kicked by your regular inmate.
Wow.
So usually it takes forever to get into that dorm. Well, when I had first gotten into that unit, I put in a request to get to the faith-based dorm, and again, somehow, some way, I got in immediately. Um,
Amazing.
and that strayed me away from all of the BS, all of the drama, all of the politics. I was able to, I mean, yes, do my time, which I had to pay for my my wrongs, of course, but it afforded me the time to strengthen my walk. And when I got out in 2017, uh, I was able to come out and you know um, ready. I wasn't, I didn't fall back. I wasn't another statistic. I didn't, go back to my old ways. This year I'll be celebrating 9 years of sobriety. So it's
Amazing. Congrats.
thank you. So it's been nothing but nothing short of a miracle. I mean, people that have known me since back in my high school days. I mean, to see the man that I am now is just, it's a total 180. And it's all because of him. It's all because of him. He's done that, something that, I mean, that I wasn't able to do, that I would have never been able to do on my own power. I mean, I say it not proudly, but I mean, I was I racked up 5 DWIs throughout my life, and I mean, not any of those was gonna stop me from drinking. It wasn't until he got a hold of me and I let him. I let go and let God. Um, and it's been nothing but glory after that.
Talk a little bit about what it was like when you were able to leave prison. You're now a changed man
Right,
in many ways. One, because you have Jesus in your life,
right,
you have a faith now that you've never had before. You possibly had some time while you were in prison to think about and grieve some of the things that were hurting you and causing you to try to run away from your own life through alcohol.
right.
And and then you came out of this world that changed your life, and you went back into a world where you had to suddenly face all those things again. What was that like?
Um, it was a little bit difficult. I mean, friends that I had known since back in our teenage gang banging days of the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
They unfriended me. They didn't want anything to do with me. Um, the um, the woman that I was with, at the time, she when I had my encounter, after I told her, I said, you know what, I'm coming out a different man. I'm not the same man. And
Yeah.
she told me, she was like, I can't wait for our new life. And but when rubber hit the road, it wasn't the same. It wasn't as such. And so we tried to make it work. Um, and I mean, but it ended up not. We ended up separating, unfortunately. Um, but I mean, it was a struggle. It was a struggle in the relationship part of life, because I mean, uh, I'm a new creation, and people are, they just could not. I guess, I don't know. They couldn't accept it. I guess, I don't know. But
Yeah, that's very real. That's very real. And, you know, in some ways, I think we all have a little bit of that. I think you got it, you know, all at once,
right,
because all of a sudden you came to a new place and everything was brand new. Um, I had a similar moment on Sunday where a family member was bringing up things that I had done in my past that I've more than paid the price for.
yeah,
And they should be done and over and forgiven. It's been over 50 years since those things happened.
oh, wow,
And obviously, I'm changed and new, but that person seems to not be able to forgive and allow me to move on from those past
right,
events.
wow,
And
yeah,
I'm sure that you experienced a lot of the same.
oh yeah. I mean, uh, because everybody knew me. I was the party guy. I was the one getting drunk, and you'd see me dancing on the stage at the club, and I was a mess. I was a wreck. But so to come out, and maybe, again, not trying to be stereotypical, but it does happen a lot, obviously. But people, quote unquote, find God in prison, and then they come out, and then they go back to their old ways, obviously. And so, but that's I, and
Did you think about that when you were coming out, that you didn't want to be a statistic like that? Or did you put coping mechanisms into place, or did you kind of walk moment by moment with enough faith to get through that moment?
it was, well, I'll share a little bit more. And so, ever since I've gotten out, I've been very, very, very vocal with my faith. Um, I mean, anybody that follows me on social media will see almost on a daily basis. And and it's not because of me. I mean, he's the one that's instructed me, that's told me to do that. I mean, I say it often. That it's not that I want the attention, but um, he's using me as his vessel, as his hands and feet, to reach those people that more than likely wouldn't visit those four walls that we call a church. And so,
Absolutely.
so I mean, ever since I got out, it was a struggle, because I mean, he put this in my heart, and now here I am, like, me. It's like, I'm not a pastor. I'm nothing. I'm not ordained or nothing like that. So, but I've I yeah, I said yes. And so, I mean, because of that, have I lost some friendships? Yes. But have I gained twice, three times, four times more? That's yes. I mean, it's been it's been a ride. It's been a beautiful, you know I mean, just some of the functions that I'm at. Like, I mean, I joke around about it, but it's just truly amazing. Um, it's truly amazing. Like, I'll be at a veterans function, because of my prior service, and the sheriffs will be there, the constables will be there, the congressmen, state reps, whatever have you, and I'm over here, rubbing elbows with these people, and I'm like, man, this is like surreal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wanted to put your, first of all, thank you, Kristen, for your comment. Joe,
Thank
hopefully
you.
you saw it. Kristen
Yeah,
said, inspiring story. And thank you for following God's leading and sharing your journey. Only God can make these things happen.
only God. That's it. That's exactly right. Only God.
Only
I'll
God.
share. Ever since I got out in 2017, I mean, it's just been nothing but blessings upon blessings. I mean, I'll like when I first got out. I mean, obviously, I need a job, right? I need to make money, and so um, before going in, I was working for the state for the Texas Workforce Commission, doing the unemployment claims. And so when I get out in 2017, Hurricane Harvey had just hit,
Oh, wow.
and so you know everybody on the east side of Texas, Houston, and all Beaumont and all that, they were filing their disaster claims, and TWC was inundated with claims. So I'm like, I'm gonna go apply. I mean, I'm like, you need help. That's what I used to do. I'm like, you tell me no, that's fine. That's what I get hired. I get hired,
Awesome.
and everybody was, I mean, like dumbstruck. They were like, "You just got out of the state. Now you're working for the state." And it's just, it was a temporary position, but it afforded me the ability to put some paychecks underneath me and get going in the right direction, of course. And then after that, once that assignment ended, I got hired by a big corporation that's here in El Paso, ADP, the payroll company that's global, it's worldwide. And again, people here in El Paso, there's people that have applied for like 15 times, you know, and here I am, getting hired, and they're like, "How did you get hired?" And I'm like, "It's just him." I
That's
mean,
amazing. Yeah. Yeah. I put your website back up here because I wanted to give you a minute to tell us a little bit more about a couple of the things that you have on here. First of all, breakingthecurseLLC.com. Tell
yes.
us what that means.
So that's what God put in my heart to, like, when I first got started in the whole entrepreneur space back in 2021. I I knew that as a 1099, independent contractor, I needed to create my LLC, and so that's the name that He gave me to use. And so breaking the curse, the whole premise of breaking generational curses and doing better, being better. And then fast forward to last year, God gave me a slap on the side of the head and is like, "Hey, dummy, I didn't give you that name just for you and your family, but for other families as well." And that's when I started studying for the the life insurance. But I was like, so I mean, all of it is, it's all led by Him. It's all led by Him, and I mean, you know, just following His lead and following whatever He wants me to do. And again, I'm just, sometimes um, yeah, I'm a business major. I did get my degree in business management, but when I see like what's taken place in my life these last few years, it's just I could have never fathomed, imagined this, never. Never.
Tell us a little bit about the Chivalry Club, where you're on your website in a tux with three other very handsome men, and it looks like you're about to launch something pretty cool.
Yeah. So one of my friends there, one of them, his name is Luis Bustamante. He is uh, he just got out of the army, but he was active duty, stationed here in Fort Bliss, here in El Paso.
Thank you to him and you for your service.
Thank you. And so he rounded up a handful of us, several of us, and he shared that. he fell in love with El Paso. He's from Panama. He's originally from Panama, and he fell in love with El Paso, the culture, the people, and so he wanted to give back, and so he wanted to do something to give back, and a few of us, you know, bought into it. We liked it. We liked his idea, so we created the Chivalry Club, which again, right now we're still in the formation process. We're still in the very beginning parts of it, but what we're going to focus on is the young men, um, uh, the younger men generation, and we're going to help them. We were thinking maybe like I don't know, 6 to 8 week curriculum that we can offer like during the summer, where we will teach them like real life skills. I mean, they learn 2 plus 2. They learn what's a verb in school, but I mean nobody teaches them like money management, communication skills. Like I mean like things that you have to use at real world applications. Um, you know how to dress. I mean it's things like that.
Manners,
Manners, exactly. Yeah, you know, not to be looking at their phone all the time.
right? Yeah, it is. I mean, it's funny, but I do see people sitting in a restaurant across the table from each other and they're just texting. And I
Exactly.
wonder if they're texting each other or they're texting others or
Right.
what what it is about that phone that they can't put down for just a simple dinner conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the idea, and hopefully once we get the curriculum structured, and we already have the LLC, and we already have the state documents and everything, so that's good. Um,
That's amazing.
yeah. So we will maybe we'll approach our local school districts or talk to the counselors. We'll see how much traction we can get, we can gain.
I love this.
Yes.
I love this. So I want to summarize, but I don't want to make light of what you've done, what you're doing, and what you've accomplished because you had a very significant event that I mean going to prison as an alcoholic, and I'm sure that detox was not easy,
Mhm.
and that could have steered people, any one of us, in a direction that you did not take. And the fact that Jesus met you in prison and he walked with you when you got out, and by faith, you have turned your back on your past, created a new life. The old is gone, the new has come, and now you're giving back to people out of gratitude for that change. And thank you. I don't even know what to say because it's just such a beautiful story. And I want to say I'm proud of you, but that's silly because you're just amazing.
It's been beautiful. I mean, just he's amazing. I mean, he's always there. And as much as I said I was a believer back before, I mean, I grew up Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but I mean, I was it was more just going to church every once in a while. Nothing, but I mean, this is nothing like that. This is, I mean, this relationship. This is something far, far, far better. I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and um, just my daily walk with him. I mean, like I tell people, I mean, everyone's walk is going to be different. Of course, I'm not here to dictate anyone's day, but for me personally, as I wake up every morning, Uh, I get in my word. I do my daily. I read my daily devotionals, um, and then after that, then I'll go to the gym or whatever. And but every day, that's the first thing. I'm just starting my day with him, and somehow, some way, because of that, it's makes my day possible, or makes I'm able to bring in some commissions and some sales, so I can provide, and so on and so forth. But as long as I just, Matthew 6:33, right? Seek Him first, and all these other things will come. But
Amen and amen. If you had the chance now to say a word to yourself back in 20, right after your wife had died in that car accident, and you were really struggling, and you turned to the wrong solution, right? That's all it was.
right,
What would you say to yourself as yourself now to yourself back then?
a simple saying that I say a lot, and it seems so simple, but us as human beings, we make it so much harder. But just let go and let God. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, because He's He can carry you. I mean, He's there, and but us, we want to control. We want to know that we got this. We don't.
Yeah, and it's the burden, when the burden is heavy, is when we need him the most.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any final comments for anyone listening today?
Yes, I mean, I would just like to encourage anyone that listens to this, that, it doesn't matter how far, how bad you think you are. Um, I, it's once you come to Him, I mean, you're washed clean, and I mean, you're white as snow, white as wool. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, not the greatest sin, whatever sin you've done to yourself, or committed, or whatever. I mean, He's there with open arms. I mean, you know, 1 John 4:8, God is love, and He loves you. He loves us. He loves each and every one of us. And it's just us as a human, not with being willing to succumb to that, and just letting go, and just let God, and just watch your life just change drastically. I mean, if He did it for me, He can do it for anyone. Mhm.
Yep, and that's why I coined the phrase altered moment, right? When we go to the altar, we are altered or changed.
Right.
And
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, and I guess I want to just conclude today by saying again, thank you to everyone who is tuning in live and who will watch this episode in the future.
Yes.
And if you need an altered moment, have that conversation with God.
Amen.
Ask for eyes to see and ears to hear. And that is a conversation that God promises to answer and to participate in. And when we actively seek him, we will find him if we search for him with all our hearts.
Exactly.
And um, I don't know why I'm crying again. I cried on Friday and crying at the end of today. Your story is miraculous and beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing it with us. Again, if anybody wants to get in touch with Joe, his email is joer.loya@gmail.com, and his website is breakingthecurse.llc.com. And if anyone is looking for just something that to play in the background, I would encourage you to go to my website, kimberlyjstevens.com, and download the Altered playlist. It's on Spotify. You can just click on it and listen to the songs in that playlist, because they are songs that inspire hope. They are songs that inspire us to have eyes to see and ears to hear, where God and Jesus show up in our lives. And on that note, I want to invite everyone back on Friday at 4:30 Eastern. We have a special guest, Richard Selby, who will be on. He's been my friend for over 40 years. Um, Almost, I can't even believe that. And we started out, he was my Russian tutor when I was in college, which is crazy. And no, I don't speak Russian anymore, but he still does. So we hope to see everyone on Friday at 4:30. And until then, be blessed, and we will see you soon.
Thank you so much.